friends, and welcome to yet another video of the latest chapter that I have already started, plant anatomy or plant tissue, and the topic of today's video is permanent tissues. So before I classify permanent tissues into two main categories, I would like to highlight two main features of this type of tissue. First one, permanent tissue or permanent tissues are not known to show any more growth. No growth is seen in case of permanent tissues. That is, after attaining a certain height, there is no further growth seen in permanent tissues. And the second important point is cells are dead or living, thin or thick walled. So if cells are dead, then those cells are meant to have thick wall, and if living cells are there, then those cells have thin walled. So you can correlate this concept in either ways. Now I have segregated permanent tissues into two main classes, simple and complex. What are simple permanent tissues? Simple permanent tissues are composed of only simple permanent tissue is composed of only one type of cells. The cells forming this type of tissue are similar, forming a homogeneous cellular system. Homogeneous means same consistency or same amount, same number, same structure, everything is same. For example, if you take this diagram into consideration, if you assume this as a tissue or a simple permanent tissue, and cells here are represented as black dots, these are all similar in structure, shape, no variation, therefore homogeneous cellular system. But this is not a homogeneous tissue or homogeneous cellular system, because I have also drawn some red dots here representing two types of cells, that is black cell and red cell. So this is not a homogeneous cellular system, but this is a homogeneous cellular system, and this is basically representing simple permanent tissue. So simple permanent tissues are composed of only one type of cells forming a homogeneous cellular system. And the three main examples of simple permanent tissues are parenchyma, collenchyma, sclerenchyma. I think these tissues are very familiar to you all, and hope you know these words. But still, if you don't know where they were previously or where you are supposed to keep them, under which subheading you need to keep them, so these are basically simple permanent tissues, and the examples are parenchyma, collenchyma, sclerenchyma. The second type of permanent tissue is complex permanent tissue. This is just the reverse of simple permanent tissue, that is composed of more than one type of cell working as unit. For example, if you take this diagram, then this is a complex permanent tissue where more than one type of cells are present. Black dots and red dots representing two types of cell working as a unit. For example, xylem and phloem. These are vascular tissues meant for conduction of water, mineral, food. So xylem and phloem are complex permanent tissue. Now let's start with the first type of permanent tissue, which is simple permanent tissue, and the first simple permanent tissue is parenchyma. So here are some important points. Parenchyma consists of all the living cells, therefore parenchyma is thin walled, or the cells comprising of this tissue, which is parenchyma, are thin walled. That I have already discussed before I have started this topic. The cells are polyhedral. The second point is For all the vegetative activities of plant, parenchyma tissue is needed. So parenchyma tissue is involved in all the vegetative activities, vegetative propagations of plant. Isodiametric, thin-walled, equally expanded cells. So the cells are isodiametric, that is the cells have equal edge, equal length, equal breadth, height, everything is equal. Also they are thin-walled and equally expanded. Expansion is equal for all the cells representing this parenchyma tissue. Next point, cells could be oval, rounded or polygonal in shape. So the shape and size may vary. So it could be oval, rounded or polygonal. Intercellular spaces are present. I prefer to write ICS for intercellular spaces. So intercellular spaces are present in case of parenchyma. These are the gaps present in between the cells. So intercellular spaces are present in between the cells forming parenchyma tissue. Cells have sufficient amount of cytoplasm with one or more nuclei. So if a cell is living, then it is very easy to say that that cell has abundance of cytoplasm, because cytoplasm is basically defining the living property of a cell. So cells of parenchyma are living, therefore these cells have abundant or sufficient amount of cytoplasm. If these cells were dead, then no cytoplasm would have been there. So cells have sufficient or abundant amount of cytoplasm with one or more nuclei. Makes up large parts of various organs in plants. So parenchyma is present in most of the plant organs, in most of the regions of plant body. So this is the most abundant tissue. And few examples of parenchyma tissue are pith, mesophyll cells of leaves or mesophyll of leaves, pulp of fruits, endosperm of seeds, cortex of stem and root, xylem and phloem, etc. So these are some very important examples under the heading parenchyma. The further important points which are very important are forms parenchyma. Parenchyma forms erenchyma. This is a type of parenchyma tissue, erenchyma. And what is an erenchyma? Parenchyma is nothing but air spaces or air chambers present in aquatic plants or hydrophytes. Why they are needed? Because they perform water storage and also help in buoyancy, floating. So parenchyma is needed for water storage, for buoyancy, for the survival of hydrophytes or aquatic plants above the water surface. Also parenchyma is present in succulents and xerophytes. Succulents, for example, aloe vera or aloe, agave, these are succulents as well as xerophytes. Other type of parenchyma is chlorenchyma. The name itself giving you an idea that chloroplasts are present. So if you take parenchyma cells and expose those cells under sunlight for a certain period of time, then those cells will develop chloroplast. That's a very gradual process, and eventually that particular parenchyma tissue will convert into chlorenchyma. So chlorenchyma has chloroplast in parenchyma due to the exposure of cells under sunlight. Therefore chlorenchyma performs photosynthesis. So parenchyma and chlorenchyma, these are two main important derivatives of parenchyma tissue. Other functions of parenchyma are storage organs. So parenchyma is nothing but storage organ or storage organs, and parenchyma stores reserve food materials, RFM, reserve food materials, also stores fat and oils, stores starch or glucose, and stores proteins. So in my next video I will give you some important diagrams related to parenchyma and further discussion on collenchyma and sclerenchyma. Thank you.